Okay, go ahead.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, this is Jerry Besner at Alliance. I'd like to welcome all that have registered. It's actually very exciting. We had a tremendous registration for this webinar. We have people sitting in from virtually every province across the country and a few international people as well. Just a little background on myself very quickly. I've been with Alliance over a year, but previous to that I was Director of Tower Stock Products at Trylon, so I have a familiarity with the company and the products and the industry, as those who saw my picture notice a few gray hairs there as well. Personally, I'm sitting in our Mississauga office just outside of Toronto, and with me today from Trylon is Stephen Little. And Stephen, Stephen is in the Trylon Elmira office, which is about an hour away from Toronto International Airport, Pearson. So with that, I'm going to just do a very, very brief introduction of Alliance. But before that, we're very interested in questions. There's been a fair number of questions that were logged in before that we're going to try to address during the presentation. But if you have any question that comes up, if it relates to the section of the presentation we're presenting at that time, we'll answer your question then. If it relates to something that we're going to cover a little bit later on, we will answer it there. Also, for those who want to have a copy of the presentation, we're going to make that available, including the audio sound as well. So both the audio and the presentation will be available for you to review and take to bed with you every night. So with that, just a little bit of background of the company. The next slide here, this is our corporate headquarters in Mississauga. For those that have snow outside, relax. We also have snow outside here in Mississauga, but it's actually getting nicer. And this is about an 80,000 square foot facility. That's our warehouse and offices. We are very pleased that we've just recently opened up in the last 2 months a beautiful facility in Calgary that has full stocking provisions as well for our tower line and all the other products that we service. So Alliance is Canada's leading supplier of wireless infrastructure. We could say that because we service all the main carriers with most of their cable requirements, very extensive, and all the products and broadband division as well. So we have a world-class assortment of various wireless products, extensive inventory, millions of dollars for off-the-shelf immediate delivery, and that includes towers. We have personalized expert assistance, veterans in all elements of the broadband and wireless communications market. We carry multiple lines of products, so we actually do make independent recommendations of products that are available. We offer a lot of pre- and post-sales technical support, and very pleased to help out our customers with their requirements as well. So one of the things that we do offer, and a big part of our business base, is broadband, and a lot of participants on the webinar right now are broadband operators, WISPs, and so we offer a lot of services in that area, including license applications, network design assistance, path profiles, pre-configuration of radios, kitting, tower selection guidance. We work very closely with Trylon on tower selection. So with that, the main focus today is the towers, and particularly as it's focused in the Canadian market. Stephen, let you take over from here.
All right. Well, thank you, Jerry. Can everyone see my screen? All right, so my name is Stephen Little. I'm the technical support for the stock products at Trylon, and I'm here to give just a quick oversight on our tower training and our product information. So the main point here and the main question is, why do you need a tower? So the main points for a tower is to provide line-of-sight coverage requirements or tree line clearance that might not otherwise be available via other methods of mounting antennas. There are obviously alternate options such as roof mounts or co-location, but the tower is maybe the most customizable route for putting up antennas. Inside of Canada here, we have several different standards. Our small one is for survival design towers. Those are ones that don't conform to CSA, and as such, PN stamp drawings aren't available, but they're used for quick and small towers, such as for maybe site viewing, SCADA, and some of them just need to get up quickly. Obviously, the other side of it is the Canadian Standard Association compliance, so CSA. S3701 is the tower design standard in Canada, and this is based on wind pressure and ice, depending on your location. And for that, that's where PN stamp drawings are stamped to and what towers are designed to. Additionally, in Canada, we have lighting and painting regulations, and those are controlled by NAV Canada. So for anyone who's curious of whether or not your tower will need lighting or painting, NAV Canada is always the source to go to determine that. So for towers, the first step is determining what you need. So that'll be what height you need, what antennas you're looking to put up, and where you're looking to put them up. Once you have that outlined, that's when you can start looking for a tower. So the big thing for there is what will go on your tower now and in the future. So in this example on the screen, we have an 8-foot dish and a 6-foot dish at 95 feet, along with that same arrangement at 70 feet. For us, what we need to know is what the size of those antennas are. So if you have, what size your ditch is, or if you're putting up panels or some Yagis or Omnis, the determining factor in a tower is always the square footage that you're putting up. So it's always easy. It's just the area of the object, and that's going to be what's going to determine what your tower is required. So Alliance and Trylon have combined, and we have a simple form called Questionnaire, and it's asks for you simple things like contact information, site location data, and that's obviously just where it's going to be going, province, city, longitude, latitude if you have it available, and obviously the type of tower you're looking for. So if you're looking for self-support, a guide, a bracketed, and then, or if you have a specific idea in mind that you want to use for Super Titan Max, you just indicate these things on the form, along with other information such as what standard you're looking for. So if you're looking for a CSA S37 tower, you would indicate that. If you need stamp drawings, you would indicate that as well. Please note that stuff like the wind pressure and ice, if you're not able to obtain that, we can determine that for you. So if you're hung up on that, don't worry, we can figure that out and continue with our analysis. And obviously, the big thing would be the antenna information that's required. So listing out the antenna models, the size, diameter, elevation, and quantities will be required to run an analysis. Once that's completed, we'll run a free analysis for you and determine our tower. And we can provide several different options of towers, such as here shown our 100S1000 if you had a rather heavy-duty requirement at 100 feet. And the question, is why Trylon stock towers? Well, the idea of that is that these stock towers, up to 190 feet in stock at Alliance, provide you with a quick turnaround and pre-engineered solution for your towers and for your project. We have a self-serve tower calc program, which is available via your Alliance sales rep, along with full technical support from Alliance and Trylon that can help, whenever you have any questions or, any specifics that you're trying to determine for your tower. Obviously, our price point, since they are pre-engineered and they're stocked, is as competitive as anyone in the marketplace. And PN stamp drawings are available for all Canadian provinces and territories. So now I'm going to go with a quick overview on Trylon stock tower products. So we have 4 towers that we sell through Alliance. So we have our Titan Self-Support, Super Titan KD, a Super Titan Max, and an STG. And I will discuss each of these 4 towers right now. So start off with our Titan Tower. The Titan Tower is a 96-foot self-support that ships in assembled 8-foot sections. The style of design here minimizes installation and assembly time on site, which helps to eliminate costs. Additionally, there's online tower calc software, which will allow you to select your own tower, inputting your own data for your location and what you're planning to put on the tower and what height, and that allows you to select the tower. Additionally, the tower ships nested, which, as you can see by that lovely picture, helps to minimize freight, and these towers are assembled by Alliance in Mississauga and in their Calgary location. Additionally, just to note, this Titan tower is what is our survival line tower, meaning that it's the maximum height at minimum cost, but they are not CSA compliant, so stamp drawings aren't available if that is a requirement of your project. On to the next line is our Super Titan KD. This is a much beefier version of the Titan tower, with the height available up to 190 feet, which allows for increased area coverage and significant improved line of sight. Again, this tower does also have online tower calc software available from your Alliance sales rep that, again, you input your own data and it helps you determine which tower you're going to look for. This tower is CSA compliant, meaning that PN stamp drawings are available for it.
One question that comes up a lot, and many times people say, is the tower CSA? And as Stephen's saying, it is compliant. But to note that it only gets compliant when the customer, the user, defines what really goes on that tower, where it's located, and the tower selection is based on the compliance of what the load is on that tower, wind condition, ice condition. So it is a compliant tower, but it's not totally PN stampable unless you have all those parameters defined.
Yeah, that's a great point there, Jerry. For us to ensure that proper CSA compliance, we want to have as exact information, as specific to the customer's job as possible. So some of the key, further key benefits for this tower is our brand new packaging process. You can kind of see a diagram there showing it. Our old style, which utilized crates, and our new style. We actually use the legs of the towers to contain the packaging for the diagonal bracing and the bolt hardware and everything itself. This style helps to minimize freight costs and storage space because it utilizes 20% reduction in weight and a 69% reduction in area, or cubic volume, I should say. Additionally, there is improved economic footprint because there are no longer these wooden crates that a customer has to deal with at the end of the job. Now they just have several small little metal plates and bolts that they can throw into a little pail and just recycle. For the applications for the Super Titan, it proves to be great for emergency services such as police or fire departments because of its capacity and available repairments. Additionally, it also does great with SCADA applications and broadband-based stations. Our largest tower we have is our Super Titan Max. So this is our tallest stock product, which is able to go up to 251 feet as a self-support tower, but it has a lead time of only 3 weeks. It's manufactured using 19-foot sections, which are great for for international or rail shipments. And because of these 19-foot sections, it actually helps reduce the cost of the tower because it's more efficient manufacturing. Of course, this tower is CSA F37 compliant, and as a special note, the tower is priced with PN stamp drawings included in it. For the applications, it can serve almost any application below cellular grade and is ideal for co-location due to its large load and tall towers height. Again, it's great for international opportunities because these 19-foot sections fit perfectly inside a 20-foot container.
Just one thing, I know you mentioned it there a second ago, Stephen, but it's sometimes worthwhile is, with the Super Titan Max, it automatically includes the PN drawings, both for the tower and for the foundation, provided a soils report is provided. Some customers would only look for normal soil conditions, which could be done, but if you're really looking for a total package, then a geotechnical soils report is required, and as part of the package supply, you'll get the complete PN stamp drawings.
Definitely, again, another great point. Anytime that, specifically for the MAX, we need a geotechnical report just to make sure that the foundation and the soils that are going to be used align with what our design requirements are. So our last tower is our most versatile tower, which is our STG. Now this tower, which is an 18-inch face width, utilizes solid round members both in the legs and the diagonals, which provides for increased tower strength, is more durable for transit, while eliminating internal leg corrosion and internal ice buildup that might happen in our competitors' towers. Additionally, the external splice spigots, which is just utilizes a bolt connection at each leg, means that 3 bolts are needed to connect 20 feet of tower. It also means that it's a very quick installation and the tower can go up very rapidly. This tower is S37 compliant, and so PN stamp drawings are available for all styles, whether it be bracketed, self-support, or guide. The tower uses an integral climbing face, so that means there's no additional climbing ladder required, and it also can fit both our rail and our safety cable system. The non-tapered design, as it is a continuous 18-inch face width, means that every section is the same, and there's no confusion when installing the tower. And again, just as pointed out, the extreme versatility, the self-support can go up to 50 feet, the bracketed can go up to 140 feet, and our guide tower can reach, depending on location, up to 350 feet. For applications, the self-support proves to be perfect for 40-foot skated towers, as well as on the guide tower side, wind monitoring with small loads at a significant height, such as 300 feet. And again, a product differentiators for the STG versus competitors is that it utilizes a solid round leg design as opposed to a pipe or a hollow tube leg design. Again, the external splices being that it's a very quick install and it's very clean, and you don't run into issues where gallops might be covering up bolt holes. And again, obviously because of the solid round leg size, you have increased strength versus what our competitors can offer. A quick note, obviously Trylon is a large-scale tower manufacturer, so we do have custom towers available on the size of our KDSS, which is knockdown self-support angle leg towers, large-scale guide towers, monopoles, and micropoles. Quick notes for the monopoles is that they're available on the carrier grade up to 160 feet. And for the micropoles, there are a maximum 15-meter tower with a patented design that allows for installation in 1 day. It's also slender and unique style, means that it can fit inside urban areas because it can be utilized as a light pole or a telephone pole. Additional aspects of Trylon is that we provide universal accessories for telecommunications. So that extends to any type of antenna mount, T-frame mounts, dish mounts, along with cables, cable ladders, TX brackets, and just 1,000 different accessory products available.
Hold on a second, Stephen. I just had a few questions that had come up, and my screen's not showing them in a clear manner, so I'm just going to go through them quickly because I think we covered some of this earlier, but it says does not CSA compliance also require a maintenance schedule at a certain rate?
I believe that's correct. Our towers are required, we suggest to have them inspected every 1 to 2 years to ensure that all bolt connections are still properly tightened, obviously that there's no damage or any type of overloading showcased. Obviously with a install, after the tower has been installed, it should be inspected to ensure that it was installed correctly.
Okay, the other question I had here was what does below carrier grade mean? And I guess the answer to that really is the Super Titan Max at 251 is not designed for a cellular carrier application where they may have multiple configurations on there. It's really designed for public safety, broadband, oil and gas. We're unique to height, but you're not offering full array of cellular services.
Yeah, exactly. Often a cellular loading is considered to be upwards of 80 square feet. So that includes obviously you have panels, RU mounts, the standoff brackets, the whole pinwheel, if you have microwaves. So with that in mind, so that's what kind of is considered a cellular level tower. So the Super Titan Max, as you're pointing out, is great for broadband, so it can hold a significant amount of load at the height of 250 feet, but not to the extent of a carrier grade tower.
Okay, one earlier question was also had to do with can we offer engineered drawings for normal soils?
Yeah, definitely. We have pre-designed foundations for normal dry soil conditions, and those are readily available for our customers. So if customer wants to use normal dry soil conditions, we are able to provide them with a foundation design for a Super Titan or Titan or STG, and there's no issue for the customer to use that. Again, they would be taking on the responsibility if the site does not align to normal dry soil conditions, but if they have confidence that they do, we do have pre-designed foundations.
Okay, the next question relates to lighting, which we're going to cover on. So maybe, why don't we continue with your presentation, Stephen, and we'll go back to some of the questions a little bit later.
Okay. So obviously, just discuss the different universal accessories, and I'll just discuss a few of the particular ones. So one, obviously, that as an offset to towers is a rooftop mount. We offer a different array of non-penetrating rooftop mounts. Obviously, this is utilized for dense urban areas where tower space is not available. We also have the ability to have camouflage designs. So if you want to have a rooftop mount but hide your antennas, whether someone thinks they're unsightly, we are able to offer that solution. And of course, these mounts are designed in compliance with CSA, and PN stamp drawings are available for them. Obviously, in addition to our accessories and towers, we provide the Cougar line of safety. So this is CSA S3701 compliant, both in our cable kit and safety rail. And these kits are designed to fit monopoles, ladder leg installations, or leg installations. So whether that be on a ladder or versus step pegs. Additionally, all of our Super Titan KD, Super Titan Max, and STG towers are designed to meet CSA requirements and Alberta Health and Safety. The Titan towers have sections 4 through 13 meet Alberta Health and Safety requirements, and sections 2 and 3 for the Titan are Alberta Health and Safety compliant with the addition of a second Cougar safety rail. So just to give clarification on that, the Titan towers, once they have one Cougar rail installed on them, just for obviously climbing purposes, that means that's when sections 4 through 13 are compliant. And once you add a second safety rail on another leg, that'll make sections 2 through 3 compliant. Additionally, we offer engineering services for Trylon, such as tower design, structural analysis, foundation design, and also detailing packages. So if you require any of those, please contact Trylon for these solutions. And as Jerry had just previously indicated, we also provide grounding and lighting kits. So we have standard CSA grounding kits, but we are also able to supply special grounding kits based on customer specifications. For lighting, we have several different kits, so standard DOL lighting kits, ones with white flash, photo cells, alarmed kits. All of these are NAV Canada compliant lighting kits, and we are also able to factory paint our towers to meet NAV Canada requirements. So this would be utilizing international orange and white banding.
So the question here on lighting was, what is the height where we need a red beacon on top? What is the regulations in Canada?
I believe that's more dependent on your location than just the standard height, because it'll be based on what NAV Canada requires, because it'll be on total elevation of height and obviously where the tower is located. So if you have a 50-foot tower but it happens to be on a very large hill versus a 100-foot tower in a valley, the true elevation at the top is what will determine what's required. So NAV Canada will be the ones to be contacted just to determine which lighting kit, if one is required.
Yeah, when you look at lighting, like the red beacon or a DOL, usually the max you could go on that is up to 150 feet, and then you have a medium strobe lights, heavy strobe lights, photo cells. So lighting itself could get pretty expensive, and it's really important to understand what the NAV Canada requirements are. And that also relates to painting. Sometimes you could get away with just painting the tower, and sometimes you have to do both.
Yeah. So that's the end of the product talk. Just to give you a quick, customer service aspect. For the Alliance and Trylon sales resources, on the Trylon side, we have Josh Lang, who is our product manager, myself, technical support. We also have Krista Pollock, who is our inside sales for the stock product, and Amy Bredner, who covers order management and customer service. So if you have questions on technical requirements, obviously that's myself or Josh. But if you're looking for an order or you're looking for a quote, that would come from obviously the Alliance sales side, along with Krista and Amy. And then of course for Alliance, there's Jerry, who is the director of Alliance tower sales side, and along with their extensive sales.
Okay, one of the earlier asked questions is, what is the typical longevity of a tower? And then the question then says 25 years. And what are the criteria to declare a tower old?
Well, our design is for a minimum of 30 years because we designed to CSA's 30-year wind pressure. So that means that we're expecting to design to the strongest wind for a 30-year period. So, but for minimum, towers should last 30 years. But of course, towers can last much longer, provided that they're not overloaded or get too extensively damaged due to a number of means. Obviously, proper installation is another requirement there to ensure long-lasting life of a tower. But I just recently had a question on a tower from 1961. So there's many towers that are able to have that have long lives and have long design lives because we're designing it for at least a 30-year period.
Yeah, and ultimately, as Stephen mentioned a little earlier, it's the maintenance schedule that helps prolong the longevity of the tower. And these are, when we get into the various towers, the Titan Tower is pre-galvanized, but the Super Titan and the STG and Super Titan Max are hot dip galvanized to CSA standards. Ultimately, the galvanizing, if you're near the ocean, like towers that were supplied, say in the Caribbean, they'll start seeing some corrosion earlier on, and by inspecting the tower and putting on some more Galvacon, you extend the life. Checking the bolt connections are important as well. So basically, it's a hunk of steel, and ultimately, if it's taken care of, it pretty well lasts forever. The 30 years or 50 years is a design criteria that comes from the wind speed criteria, but if you over-design the tower to those requirements, then that becomes a smaller factor as well. Another question here, somebody was asking if we could explain the difference between a bracketed tower and a self-support tower. Want to do that, Stephen?
Of course. So the main difference is that a self-support tower is a tower that's designed to stand on its own without any other support. So this is our Titan, Super Titan, and Super Titan Max are all designed to have no additional support required. It's designed that it can support the load as is without fail. A bracketed tower will be a tower that's designed to utilize a wall mount support or a connection to obviously basically create a cantilever of tower. I think he had to explain that. So the cantilever is basically supported by an exterior source, so whether that's a building wall or what have you. We utilize our STG for our bracket towers because the STG is also designed to be a guide tower. And guiding a tower along with bracketing can add generally unforeseen forces if you had only used a self-support tower. But using a tower like the STG that's designed to be guide also means that it's good to be bracketed. It's going to be okay to be bracketed, and these additional forces will not affect the tower negatively. Our towers, the STG, we do utilize a built-in, like a foundation for the tower. So instead of, some customers like to use a bracketed tower that's connected solely to a building and not connected a foundation in the ground. Our towers are only designed to have a foundation in the ground and then bracketed, whether at 1, 2, 3 points along the building, depending on how tall the building is. So that's the main difference is a self-support tower is designed to just be on its own and not require any further guying or bracketing connections.
Another question which I like to answer because it comes up a lot is budgetary-wise, what is the typical cost of a 100-foot self-support tower? And, everybody wants to get a budgetary price, but in order for us to give you a reasonable budgetary price, we really have to have an understanding of where the tower is going, what's going on it, and what type of ice conditions. To give you an idea, looking at a self-support 100-foot tower, out of list price, out of the catalog, you could get an S100 Super Titan that has a list price of about $8,000, or you could go to an S1100 Super Titan that goes at $26,000. So it's virtually 3 times the price, and there's an extreme there. So really, when you're looking at a budgetary proposal, you have to get some parameters around what that tower is going to have as a loading criteria. And when you get that, we could come up with some sort of a number for you, but it's very hard to give you just a finger in the air without more information.
Yeah, that's exactly the right statement right there, is that if you require a budgetary cost on a tower, we can provide that to you, but it is dependent on your tower, where it's going, what antennas you're putting on it, because if you get something spec'd in and that tower is not even close to capable, well then your budget's going to be completely lost. So definitely, when you're trying to figure out what tower to use, it's always required to know what you're going to be using this tower for.
Okay, here's one for you, Stephen, since it involves custom monopoles. It says, can you custom build monopoles higher than 160 feet?
We can look into that based on the loading and its location. So if that is something that we can look into, yes.
Yeah, but part of the issue there, if I recall from my days with Trylon, is the size of the monopole. I think they were limited to about a 5-foot OD at the bottom, and 160 feet sort of seemed to be based on load, sort of a area. Now, monopoles do go bigger than that, and as Stephen just indicated, if you have a requirement, get it into Trylon on that particular product, and we'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more questions here. Okay. Is there a NAV Canada website similar to the US to ours, I guess, to determine if we need light and paint or registration? So I personally don't know if a NAV Canada site. Have you been able to locate something like that, Stephen?
No, I haven't. It's not been something I've myself have looked into. So I'm not familiar if there is such a site or not.
Okay, the next question here says, what do you have for cable management for Trylon Super Titan? I guess this question relates to transmission line brackets.
Well, we have several different options. So we have some 4- and 8-line Super Titan brackets that connect right to the leg. Those are specific for Super Titan. We also have, inside the accessories catalog, many different styles of brackets. So we have T brackets that can hold from 8 lines to 24. We also have larger kind of U-ring brackets that would go the outside of the tower, and those, I believe, can hold up to 32 PX brackets. And of course, we also have cable ladders. So if the customer would rather have a ladder going up the tower to support the cables as opposed to using brackets, we also have many different sizes and options available to the customer.
Okay, one of our listeners provided some clarification, which we'll have to verify and get back to the group. But it's saying, ultimately, our statement about the requirements for lighting and painting are determined by location and stuff. But the person that's responding here says it's Transport Canada who determines whether you require lighting and painting, not NAV Canada. So I think, Stephen, we'll have to clarify that.
Okay, I'll look into that. My understanding from forms I've seen have been NAV Canada, but it might also be Transport Canada. Admit my experience, I've seen been NAV Canada, but if it's Transport Canada, then that's something we can update the customers on.
Okay, another question came up. Are we doing any tower work for wind farm generators? And the answer is definitely yes. We've actually, through Alliance, have sold some of our Super Titan towers for that application using palnets. However, the size of the generator really becomes, or the turbine on top really becomes the issue, and Trylon's not into big monopole structures to house 3 megawatt turbines. Stephen, you want to further comment on that?
Well, yeah, definitely. The requirement, the determining factor for any wind turbine is going to be the turbine that's used. Additionally, the location. Obviously, we'd like to look at every opportunity for wind turbines to provide a solution to the customer and to see, if we have a tower that can meet their needs.
Okay, another question is similar to the tower is, what is the general price range on a 60-foot monopole?
That'll be, again, something that's dependent on where it's going and what's being put on it. Kind of hard to throw a ballpark price at that because there is some variance. If you had a really light loading, obviously the tower shells will be smaller and you could probably get away with less connections. But if you're planning to put extensive loading at 60 feet, that will still be a heftier tower. So something like that, it would require us just to get all the loading parameters in and look at it and be able to provide an estimated cost.
Yeah, one of the earlier questions, and I think we sort of addressed it, but to hit it straight on, it says, are there specific towers for use in areas where hurricanes, etc., are common?
Well, I'll explain this. There aren't any specific towers. What happens often is that design standards, so if that's in Canada, CSA, or if this is an international customer, and then it'd be EIA, Rev F, or TIA, Rev G. The design codes will specify an estimated wind speed, max wind speed, which will take into account an extreme weather condition like a hurricane. So we'll be designing to these max wind speeds. So if a tower then meets that, that means it will be designed to withstand a hurricane wind speed. So there's not, I guess, a particular tower model for a hurricane area. Obviously, it's the tower model that's going to meet that wind speed. Obviously, we would use a heftier tower like our Super Titan or Super Titan Max in these scenarios. A Titan would not be an appropriate tower for such an area. But provided with the parameters, the location, we can determine a tower based on the design codes, what they require.
Yeah, and that actually, brings to light that in order to do an engineering approval stamped set of drawings for Canada, we require from Environmental Canada a wind report, and it's very specific to the longitude and latitude and the elevation at that time. So sometimes it gets a little frustrating for people who are looking for budgetary proposals to try to determine what these parameters are. And as I said earlier, you could get a budgetary area, but it gets very, very specific because you could be, say, on the coast where you could get hurricane winds, but you could be inland by a mile or two and the wind rating in that particular area is less, or you could be up on the mountaintop and it could be way higher, and you could be a kilometer away from where the wind rating was lower. So in order to really get an accurate design, that type of information becomes critical.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jared. Everything there is exactly what we need. Is always for you're looking for stamp drawings or to have a CFA approved tower. A site-specific wind report is always a requirement.
Okay, just looking through, just trying to make sure we've answered all the questions that came in. I think right now, if we haven't answered all the questions, and send it in to us. And if you're looking for more clarification, please don't hesitate to call myself or Stephen or any of our account managers, and we'd be very pleased to respond to your questions. Also, the copy of this audio will be available, and we definitely look forward to working with you to meet all your tower requirements, or at least answer any questions you have. Was there any more slides there, Stephen, that we didn't get to the end?
I guess there's just the technical resources. So obviously there's the Trylon website, which we've recently revamped, just trylon.com, along with Alliance's website. And again, just to restate it all, the available resources include the online tower calc, installation manuals, wind load charts, and product spec sheets, which are all available from Trylon representatives or Alliance representatives. And I believe that is it for the end of the presentation. So myself would just like to say thank you to everyone who's attended and who has supplied a question. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me with your question.
Thank you all very, very much for your participation. Some really great questions, and I look forward to having the opportunity of working with each and every one of you who have registered for this webinar. Thank you, and have a great day.